welcome to the channel. I'm Kay, and today's swatch sesh features 13 spoilers. So if you bought Zombie Claw's Halloween advent calendar and you plan on adhering by its rules, this would be a good time for you to click away. But for those of you who are staying, guess who is back? We have the pumpkin guy again, who has been fed all of the polishes. Yes, he has. So what does that mean? That means that we're not swatching these in order. So this calendar has rules, right? Day 1 is supposed to be October 19th, and there's 13 polishes, so that means by the time you get to the last one, it should be Halloween. Unfortunately, for that rule, there are too many rules in the world, and I'm actively looking for some to break. So this is gonna be one of them. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to digging and picking and swatching these, and then I'll be back with the good, the Brad, and the Prugly. Let's kick off the sesh with the first polish pick, which is day 7. Looks like we have Looniepoo, and heads up that I have no official brand description of these polishes, so I'm gonna do my best to break these ingredients down based on what I see. Let's talk first impressions. Did I get a Halloween vibe from the bottle? I would say yes. That reddish orange glow in that muddy base did remind me of spooky season, and as I apply it, I'm noticing that this is more of a muddy grayish blue tone base holding what appears to be multi-chrome elements, because in the bottle I could see some slight shifts, even though they're not very obvious on the nail right now. It mainly looks like a very warm toned orange leaning heavily towards red. I will admit, when I saw the bottle, I didn't think I would like this one as much as I do, but I think day 7 was an excellent start to this advent calendar. Let's move on. Next up in the Helluva lineup is gonna be day 3. We have Glitz Glam, and I should probably let you know that I have never watched Helluva Boss, so if you notice a lack of character mentions, that's why. I don't know anything about them other than what I could find on the internet. So this seems to be another multi-chrome, but this time we have a cool toned emerald green type of color with a slight shift to blue that I'll eventually show. I don't think my camera is capturing the luminosity of this formula too well. It does have this amazing glow to it that is a lot more perceivable in person. It does have this vivid radiance to it that just gets lost on camera. Here's another shot where you can better see that slight shift to blue. I'm not 100% in love with this one. It looks similar to other polishes that I already own, so I don't feel like I got something super special for Halloween. Maybe I would dig it a little bit more if there were some other elements involved here. Getting back to Pumpkin Guy, and next up we have day 2. Deadly Little Pumpkin Spice. Okay, so we have another shifty shimmer or multi-chrome. First impressions are not super great for me at this point. I'm not a big fan of this type of finish, but what we seem to have here is somewhat of a pinky colored base filled with these elements that appear to shift between reds, oranges, and yellows. It definitely matches the name of the polish, because had I not looked at it, I would have guessed that this was gonna be orange in some way. So here's my end result after 2 coats. It is very bright and vibrant. I would have liked this one more had it been like a true orange. I also don't even know if I would wear this one any other time of the year, just because coral colors aren't really part of my color palette. Wish me good luck here. I hope I got something I love this time. It looks like I have day 11. Silly Minx. Okay, so this is quite different from what we've seen so far. First impressions though, it's giving winter, not Halloween, but when I looked up the character, I could immediately tell that they have a winter aesthetic. So it looks like Zombie Claw decided to go all in with the winter vibes here. This polish seems to have a clear base and it is nicely seasoned with what could be blue aurora shimmer and silvery specks that have a slight rainbow glow to them. I'm not really sure if they're holographic though, because I'm not seeing much of that hollow pop like I'm used to seeing with hollow elements. And there is the final result. It's very beautiful and serene, definitely a chilly winter polish, and that blue shimmer, it's definitely dominating, although those rainbow flecks are not far behind. They're definitely a very prominent and supportive character, although in my opinion, the polish again doesn't really speak Halloween language to me. It definitely matches the character's aesthetic though. Let's see what we get for our next swatch. It looks like we have a day 10. First bottle impressions are full on Halloween vibes. No doubt this polish is for spooky season. So we start off with a purple jelly-like base that is filled with a brew of orange elements. We have small metallic orange hex glitters, a large version of those same glitters, and what appears to be color shifting flakies that seem to shift between orange and pinky tones. I am seeing some pops of rainbow as well though, so we may have a rainbow or a hollow type of finish on some of those elements, and Moxmox is definitely taking the edge off here. This is more of what I have been expecting to see. It does have that feral, creative, and playful Halloween vibe. In my opinion, I think day 10 was a success. But is our next polish going to top Moxmox? I don't know, but here we have day 8. Okay, Via is reminding me of day 2, 3, and 7 because we seem to have the same formula, just in a different color. Now, first bottle impressions are that it's a beautiful color, but again, I'm just not a big fan of this finish. And now that I'm on the second, you can see how that purple tone starts matching the bottle as it comes alive in this really saturated and deep, but at the same time electric type of blurple that's a little eye addicting. There's some darkness there at the edges of the nail, but head on it's this edgy hue, and if I turn my other lamp on, you can see how there's a shift to somewhat of a magenta tone that adds a little bit of a visual interest. Overall, while the polish is beautiful, I would have personally liked to have seen a more creative twist, and with day 8 swatch, let's just go back for our next mystery polish. Shaking things up a little bit, and next up we seem to have day 5. Queen Bee rules day 5. So here we have something a little different. This seems to be a linear hollow formula with a few more elements. Now, first impressions, I feel like I'm a little bit in the limbo here. I think this is another character aesthetic look more than anything. So right away you can see that pale yellow tone that we have as a main color, but aside from that we have linear hollow elements and also what appears to be a nice dash of reddish shimmer, which adds a nice little touch. My end result here is after 2 coats, and unfortunately day 5 combines 2 things that highly repel me. First, is that pale color. You can see how this yellow color is just very close to my skin tone. It doesn't give me a lot of contrast. And then the second is that linear hollow. While it's beautiful, it's just not very noticeable unless you're in strong direct lighting. I just feel like the hollow effect is too weak in indirect lighting for me to actually enjoy it. I know other people might. So sadly, I think that day 5 has won a ticket to my 2026 D-Stash trials. Next up in the advent calendar is going to be day number 4. Embodiment of Lust. So with this one, we're going from day 5 to day 4, and Embodiment of Lust is giving an interesting little contrast here because we have what looks like a maroon color as the base with a nice hand of blue shimmers. That first coat applied very evenly. It laid down so nicely. This is definitely a beginner-friendly type of formula, but you are not going to want that as your end result. So I did move on to this second coat to achieve proper opacity. This is what I'm looking for as an end result. You can see how both the blue shimmers and that maroon-ish base blend together for the look. However, you can still easily locate and differentiate the two. I also have to acknowledge the glow factor of those blue shimmers because they play a huge part in what I think makes this polish stand out. Let's reach right for the polish in the corner, which is going to be day number 13. Great Prince of Hell. So here we have the last polish of the advent calendar, not of this video. Remember that the advent calendar has a total of 13 polishes. So this would have been the one I would have opened on Halloween. And although the base here may look like the previous polish we swatched, it is different in that it has more of a burgundy tone. There's definitely a visible touch of purple. And within that base, there are green shimmers that shift to blue. Now my end result here is after just 2 coats. You can probably see a little bit of sheerness when I angle the nail, but head on, those shimmers are so strong that it easily gives the illusion of having full coverage. Personally, I do find it has a very similar formula to both day 7 and day 4. Going back in for the next polish in the sesh, which is day number 12. Chuckle F. Okay, this one looks amazing in the bottle, so let's chat about these ingredients. What we have here seems to look like a black cherry colored base that holds these very pretty pink reflective glitters and what seems to be red shimmer. Now, once I laid down that first brush stroke, I could immediately tell that this polish is extremely saturated and quite opaque. It's very rich in color. Overall, it looks like a deep red color in this lighting, although you can still notice the red sparkles of those shimmers. I was really missing those pink reflective glitters though, so I turned on my strong direct light source, but to my surprise, they were not there. I don't know what happened here, but I can see like a tiny amount of them here and there, but nothing like the bottle. I was sadly disappointed with this one. I'm just unable to recognize what benefit, if any, the pink reflectives are giving this polish. All this candy giving me cravings, but let's just swatch. It looks like we got day 9. Popstar seems to be another reflective, but in a very different color scheme. What I think we have here is somewhat of an orchid color in the base. I can also see some orangey red shimmers and what looks like silver reflective element. It is interesting how we can immediately notice those reflective elements already coming through nicely in the first coat, and this is just under normal lighting. So I do appreciate that we're getting some sparkle and actually getting some of the benefits of the reflective additions. Those red shimmers, they are not hiding either. The glow is very obvious. It comes through nicely, but let me add some strong direct lighting to see the reflectives in all their glory. I can actually see them, so I'm not sure what happened with Chuckle F, but Popstar is acting properly on stage. She is reflecting that silver and giving us a little dazzle. The bottle does look more reflective, but I do know that these particles can stick to the glass wall and alter expectations, but still, this one gave me a much better reflective end result than Chuckle F did. Back to Pumpkin Guy, who holds our next pick, which ended up being day 6. What a surprise it was to see such a bright and fun color. I feel like the previous polishes we have seen for the most part have been either dark or a little muddy, so Froggy is lifting my spirits here. This one is a bright green base color that is nicely seasoned with shimmers that seem to shift between green and blue colors. So here we have the end look, which I adore. I actually don't have a bright green like this with a color shifting shimmer, so I'm super excited about Froggy. And another fun bullet point for Froggy is that it is a neon with a nice green glow, which we will absolutely take. I'm noticing that I could have gone in for a third coat since I do see a few sheer areas, but I think that for the most part we have a clear idea of what Froggy's offering. I think we only have one last treat left, and we actually got day 1. With Sallie Mae, we have another reflective polish here, but let's talk about that amazing blue color that we have in the base. It is such a vibrant and bold royal blue type of hue, and within it we seemingly have both silver and pink reflective elements. Just like with Popstar, I'm noticing that those silver reflectives are already starting to come through and show themselves, but I'm not really seeing the pink ones just yet. And here's my end result after 2 coats. This looks pretty striking, slightly eye addicting. This one could definitely draw eyes to your nails, but let's see what happens under strong, direct lighting. The silver reflectives do wake up and pop a little more, but we don't have a huge reflective reaction here. And notice how the pink reflectives are kind of nowhere to be found. It reminds me of Chuckle F a bit. I don't know if this is the norm for pink reflectives. Is it a nice polish though? Of course, it's definitely beautiful, but in this case, I would just describe this polish as a beautiful blue and silver reflective polish, at least on the nails. So those were the swatches. Let's go ahead and talk about the good, the bad, and the prugly, although I do feel like I have more of a prugly take. So overall, the collection, I think it does speak the language of fall really well. What I'm wondering though is, what else could have been added to these polishes to help them speak more of the language of Halloween? I feel like the Halloween vibe was lacking just a little bit, for it being a Halloween advent calendar. Personally, I was expecting to get slapped with the Halloween vibe, but I don't feel slapped. It's because I've seen what Zombie Claw does. They get really fun, they get funky, they get really creative with their polishes, and that's what I was expecting in this collection. I feel like this felt a little bit more serious than the things I've seen them do, but hey, that's just my opinion. I'm sure that there's many people that bought this advent calendar and really, really enjoyed it. Was this the best first Halloween advent calendar experience? I would say no. However, again, that just comes back to my expectations. I know that different brands will execute these things in different ways. Formulas were great though. The only one that got weird on me was Chuckle F because the reflective elements were just very shy. They were shy, they were hiding, they were basically non-existent on the nail at least. But I do have 4 that I love and that I can see myself wearing. It is Froggy and Looniepoo and Moxmox and the Great Prince of Hell. All right, so I think I can go ahead and start wrapping up this video. Thank you so much for watching and for going through Zombie Claw's advent calendar with me. I hope you had fun and hope you have a great day. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.